Hi everyone, Den here. Today we're going to be looking at The Sims 4. I'm really excited to play it with you all. This is actually one game that I have some experience with from before I met Grit. Most of the games that I play, I know just through him. He introduced them to me. But I've actually been a huge fan of The Sims games for quite some time. I was a huge fan of The Sims 2 when I was in high school, played it a ton. Dabbled with The Sims 3 a little bit, was kind of disappointed in it, couldn't really get into it. Um, but I'm really excited about The Sims 4. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You can also customize the way they walk now. I feel like that would actually be incredibly obnoxious probably when you're playing the game. I don't know if they do that walk every time they go anywhere or just sometimes if they're putting on a show, but I think that I couldn't play the game if she walked like this all the time. Alright, first things first, let's work on her face. Work on customizing that. Oh, could make her a Twi'lek. So let's see, I can start from one of the faces that they offer and then customize it from there if I see one I want to work with. I think this one looks a lot like Katy Perry. You can click on individual features and it'll pop up, again, preset options you can work with from there. But you can always customize from what you've clicked on. So if I want to start out working with this eye shape, I can make them larger or smaller still from there, change their placement. It just gives you a starting ground. So again, I played Sims 2 a lot more than I played Sims 3. It's actually easier for me to make comparisons between this and Sims 2 than it is for me to compare it to Sims 3 just from memory. Sims 2 is definitely ingrained in my memory. But instead of working from clicking on one of these presets and then using a dial system to make them thinner or wider or upturned, it's just a click and drag, which in some ways is handy. I like that to get to the portion where I work on the nose, I just click on the nose and it takes me right to there. That's nice. But at the same time, it can sometimes be kind of tricky, I feel like, trying to customize exactly what you want things to look like, trying to figure out which part of the feature to grab to change different parts of it, like to change the size of just the upper lip. Um, I can't really get that just from clicking on it. I have to go from a preset and kind of just modify as I can from there. Definitely lots of fun hairstyles on this one though. I feel like it was a lot better than what was in previous games. It's a pretty wide selection too. And they actually have some hairstyles that are um, somewhat more current to what people wear today. So it's a little more fun building your character when they actually look something like what you might actually wear in real life. I will say this though, no matter what, the fro hairstyle still resembles cauliflower. No matter what, they can't quite get that texture down. So one thing that The Sims has been doing for quite a long time, I'm pretty sure that you could do it with The Sims 2 as well. I don't remember off the top of my head right now though, is being able to choose the other outfits that your sim ends up wearing, depending on what you're doing in your gameplay. For example, they have formal wear, athletic wear, sleepwear, party wear, and swimwear. Apparently, they differentiate between just a party scene and a formal scene now. What I figured out from dabbling with the character creation, the way I like to go about um, taking care of all those different categories at once. I used to start out just going through every day and I would work on like the face and the hair, and then I would zoom out and I would start clicking and working on their outfits from there. and then I would go and I'd start all the way back at square one with hair for formal, and then work my way out. Now it's easier for me if I'm already in here looking at all these hairstyles and things, and that's what I've got on the brain. I just go across here. So after I go across the board for the different hairstyles I'm going to assign to my character, I'll probably go across the board and go ahead and do makeup. I might tweak it later, but I'll go ahead and do that on my character and then zoom out and go through and do the outfit for each one. So this undesirable fedora brings me to another point to keep in mind. If you're flipping through and you want to just eliminate something from a category, you can just hover over the X. If you're not wearing a hat, then that X wouldn't pop up. I just moved my window from this top left-hand corner of the screen down to the bottom because the bottom right corner isn't really going to matter right now during character creation. It just gives the option to add another character to your family, which some may want to do. I usually like to start off with just one sim though when I play and work my way up to building a family. I think it's a little more challenging than when you kind of already have them preset to be matched together. So I moved myself down there so that you can see up here in that top left when we start getting to setting some aspirations. Just to explain that shift. I will say this about when you are doing anything up close to your character during the character creation mode. For some reason, when you zoom in, they tend to get kind of offset like that. I think she's leaning on one leg, maybe striking some kind of pose, but then a lot of times this gets in the way, or she's leaning crooked or facing some opposite direction. I guess it makes your character seem lifelike, but sometimes it's inconvenient when you're trying to do things like fine tune your party makeup. These are important things, people. Just saying. I didn't realize you had so much control over how perky their boobs were. Look, I can... I mean, I had no idea. That got his attention.
So I'll play The Sims.
Is that why you play The Sims? So again, with the body, you saw there were the presets overall where you can choose a body type to start working with. You can also do the click and drag like I've been doing, which isn't actually what I normally mess with. A lot of times I use these dials over here where you can make your person look more or less toned or muscular, and then this controls like the overall weight. A lot of times I'll just use those and a preset to do it, but I wanted to try out and see what all I can customize just by clicking and dragging on the body, and it's pretty specific. A lot of options. You know, every time I try this dress on to a sim, I just hope it's gonna look good, and it never does. I try every time just in case. Alright, so we have created every possible aspect of the appearance of my new sim, Den and Grit. And now we just need to set up her aspirations, give her some direction in life. So that's again why I moved my face from this top left corner to down where I am now, so that you can see as I move through this. So let's see, what could her aspiration possibly be? I really like, by the way, the huge selection they give you on this now. It used to be more narrow. Like, you could be family-minded or knowledge-minded, romantic, fortune, popularity. I think that might have been it back in The Sims 2 days. Or that was pretty close to it. Now, not only do you have more options, but also you get to be more specific. So, for instance, if my character's main aspiration in life has to do with food, it's not just food in general, but I can select whether that means that she wants to be a master chef, she wants to master the culinary arts, or a master mixologist, where she wants to learn to make fancy frou-frou drinks. You get other you get choices like that in other areas as well. So I really like in the creativity one, you can choose to be oriented towards art, music, or writing. It makes it fun, and it also makes it easier, I think, to keep your own gameplay in mind when you're selecting what aspiration you want. So I know that like cooking is usually pretty easy to level up because all Sims have to eat. So at some point they're cooking. So if you know that in your gameplay that's what you want to focus on and that's what you always focus on, then you can make them a food aspiration and be really specific about having them be a master chef. Or for instance, the family one is always good if you like to have kind of a social gameplay where you're trying to accumulate a larger household, and you kind of get to set yourself up to have that challenge of the successful lineage, a family that succeeds in life, which is kind of vague terms for me right now. But that definitely echoes to the Sims 2 age of when it was such a challenge to try and balance all your family's aspirations. And that can still be a part of gameplay now as well. The more people you get in a household to take care of, the more challenging it is. But if that's the way you like to gear your gameplay, then that's what you can choose for your aspiration. So I really like that they are not only giving you a greater variety now in your aspirations, but they're also giving you greater specificity. So you can really target your aspiration for your sim to what you like to play, and you kind of know that you're going to be successful in that way. So I've never played with this aspiration choice before, but I'm actually pretty interested to try it out. And maybe it's like the Disney princess hopeless romantic in me that's doing this right now, but I'm excited to try it out. So my aspiration is going to be in the love category and to find a soulmate. I'm not sure what that looks like in Sims gameplay, so I'm excited to see. And now we get to select some personality traits. So her aspiration is love, specifically to find her soulmate and live a rewarding life with him or her, I guess. And her personality traits are that she is cheerful, she is a bookworm, and she's family oriented. So again, in the bottom left corner, my face is currently blocking it, but they have that add feature where you can choose to add another sim to your household. I like to start them off solo. That's how I usually play. So that's what we're going to do today. You can click this button if you don't like their pose. They're usually pretty awful. We'll go with that one. That looks nice. Could the truth really be out there? Oh, okay. So as usual, in every sim game I've played, you start off with $20,000. Here we go, Willow Creek. And that's what you start off with to either buy a house or to build a house. So, well, I reckon I'm gonna probably play around and build a house. It's her party outfit.
No, not her. When she was like going, or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's kind of got like would that be like an 80s colorful thing, like the neon?
Yeah, sure. I guess.